Square Cow Countdowns. Hey there folks, Slasher Raptor here. For the third episode of the show, we're going to be taking a look at the top 10 best Final Fantasy limit breaks. So let's take a look at the rules, because this time around they're pretty important. I'm only taking limit breaks from the Final Fantasy games that I've actually played, so basically 7, 8, 9, 10, and 12. Luckily, all of those had some sort of limit break system. And by the way, I use the term limit break because there's no actual name for those kind of attacks, since it changes in every game. These attacks didn't make the list based on how effective or powerful they are in the games. Instead, the attacks on this list are rated on three things: brutality, devastation, and appearance. And as always, if you don't agree with my list, then please go make your own instead of posting negative comments on mine. So now that you know the rules, let's get started.
Number 10.
Tornado from Final Fantasy X. When I first used this attack, I thought, that's it? I searched all over Spirit gathering these stupid jet spheres, and all I get is a gust of wind? When the button input thingy came up, I was still pissed, because it really looked like all I was going to be doing was affecting the strength of the tornado. Once you input the buttons, then boom! A gratuitous pillar of fire! My only question is, what the hell is in that flask? Nitroglycerin? No wonder he aged so fast in only 10 years if that's what he's drinking. It's a wonder he's even still alive at all.
Number 9.
My Final Heaven from Final Fantasy VIII. Now this attack isn't really brutal, but it's really cool to look at. He charges up all his energy, runs all the way around the world, and then comes in to land a devastating punch that either goes clean through the enemy or just hits him really hard. And that explosion is 3 times bigger than his whole body. Captain Falcon can't even do that. Wait, what the hell? Captain Falcon? Oh. Alright, fine, I guess he can do that. Can we just move on?
Falcon Punch! Yes!
Okay, fine, I was wrong, I'm sorry. Now can we move on?
Number 8.
Dragon Dive from Final Fantasy VII. Now I was gonna put Omnislash in this spot, but my rules forced me to put Dragon Dive instead. Omnislash is a great attack, and it's really the strongest thing in that game, except for Knights of the Round. But really all it is a long series of sword strikes, the last of which causes an explosion. Devastating, sure. Now Dragon Dive, on the other hand, is a shorter series of jumping attacks, but each hit causes a uniquely shaped purple explosion. Now that is brutal and cool to look at. Despite all the fanboys of Cloud out there, I have to put Dragon Dive first. But if it helps any, if this was a top 11 list, Omnislash would have been 11. Okay, maybe that doesn't help much at all, but anyway. Next!
Number 7.
Ruin and Pendant from Final Fantasy XII. It was hard to pick and choose from all the quickenings in this game, because, well, all of them are devastating, and all of them are really cool late shows. So really it just came down to my 2 personal favorites, both of which made it into this countdown. I like this one because it's almost like looking through a kaleidoscope when you're on acid. Even if you're not, drugged up, I think we could both agree that this would make a great screensaver. Am I right?
Number 6.
Clem Hazard from Final Fantasy VII. This one is on a list merely because of how brutal it is. I mean, look at that. He impales the enemy with his sword, and then jumps high into the air, slicing it through its upper body. Huh. Where have I seen something like that before? Oh yeah, that's right, I forgot about him. The only major difference is that Darth Maul got cut in half horizontally, not vertically. But wait, I'm not done. This attack leaves the enemy in one piece. That's why this attack loses a lot of points, because it's not very devastating. The enemies don't actually split into 2 and die instantly, even though they should after an attack like that. Stupid T rating.
Number 5.
Kuja's Ultima from Final Fantasy IX. Ugh, I hate Kuja. He's an arrogant prick who talks as though he's quoting a poetry book. Not to mention the fact that he's the most estrogenic and female-looking man I've ever seen. I mean, look at that. Men should never be that curvy, let alone dress like that. My hatred for him aside, though, he does have some pretty badass attacks. His version of Ultima might not be as powerful looking as some of the newer ones, but I do like his better because it's more than just a huge explosion. And it can't really get more devastating than that, because, well, it kills the entire party. And then they go and fight Necron, who came literally out of nowhere, but that's not really the point. Next!
Number 4.
Catastrophe from Final Fantasy VII. This attack might be just another enormous laser blast, but the fact that it can move and hit multiple targets earns it some serious devastation points. because both Red 13's Cosmo Memory and Yuffie's All Creation, both of which are much cooler looking than Catastrophe by the way, hit each enemy only once, doing 9,999 damage. But Catastrophe can do 9,999 damage to all enemies, twice. It's even better.
Number 3.
The other quickening on this list is Flare Purge, which is on here for the same reason as Ruined and Pendant. I just think this is a unique attack. I can't remember the last time there was a special attack in a Final Fantasy game that used swords made up of light to annihilate enemies. Sure, there's plenty of special attacks with swords, but none of them have ever been made of light before. I mean, that's a shame too, because it's f***ing cool.
Number 2.
Blasting Zone from Final Fantasy VIII. Now, this is on here for two reasons. One, because it reminds me of this.
By the power of Grayskull!
And two, because it's a fairly unique attack. Normally, the charge and release attacks are for the non-sword using character, but in the case of Squall, it seems like he taught himself how to charge up with a sword like that, just so that when he released the energy he could say, "I'm a fire in my ladle!" I'm sorry, I couldn't resist, I just had to do it.
Number 1.
Oblivion from Final Fantasy X. I knew before I even made this list that this was going to be the number 1 attack, and you have no place to argue with me. This is an extremely brutal, extremely devastating attack. And it's also a little horrific if you think about it. It's almost as though Anima is saying, "Alright, I've had enough of you, now you have to face the Rancor." Except in this case, the Rancor is Anima's crotch. But wait, it gets weirder, because Anima is female. Even though Aeons don't technically have genders, since Anima's faith is female, that pretty much means Anima is too. Now unless my notes from sex ed are dead wrong, women don't have anything growing out of their crotches. But it would seem that somebody forgot to tell that to whoever designed Anima, because not only does Anima have something other than a vagina down there, but she has something down there that is capable of beating the ever-loving crap out of people. Hence the reason why I said this attack was horrific. Alright, well that's all I've got for this episode. I hope you enjoyed the top 10 best Final Fantasy limit breaks as much as I enjoyed making it for you, and until next time, peace out.